Now what we're going to be doing with this video is talking about test curves and rods, and most importantly what effect a test curve has on your fishing. Now a lot of people these days, especially in the UK, they're generally using between 3 and 3 3/4 pound TC rods, and there has been a bit of a fashion for lower test curve rods, or even smaller length rods. So you've got rods that are like 9 foot, 8 foot, 10 foot. So there's been a bit of a fashion to have smaller rods as well, but the test curve has been considerably higher than it needs to be, and that's what this video is about. So you asked me the question and I'll give you an answer. Somebody actually asked me the question, what TC rod should I use in one of my live feeds? Now this rod I've got here is a cart rod that I've actually physically built from scratch out of a sheet of material, laid some plastics on there, glued them together, wrapped them around a long piece of steel, which is a tapered piece of steel, and put them in the oven and cured them. And that's what that is. And this is a light carp. It was a Northwestern blank, and that is, I think it's a 1.5 pound TC. So the question is, the burning question is, will that rod there be able to stop a big fish? Right, we're going to start with the first rod. The first rod is going to be measured on some digital scales. What we're going to be measuring is a business end. That's where the actual hook link is, that kind of area. How many pounds the rod is going to place on that area. So it's the hook hold we're looking at. Now I'm going to film the scales so you can actually see the scales and what the reading is. Let's have a look at the first rod. The first rod is, be really clear, it's a 1.5 pound TC Kevlite rod with 12 pound monofilament, a big pit. That's exactly where it's going to be. So what's going to happen is, I'm now going to walk over there, and Debs is going to lean back into the rod and try hardest to pull me in. So I want to see what poundage occurs on that hook link. So we'll do that now. Right, now Debs has got the rod in place. I'm just tying the line to the scales. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I'm doing on the next ones, because you know exactly what I'm doing already. So let's just tie this line to the scale, and I will switch the scale on and set it to 0. Right, we've now got this in pounds. Debs, try and pull that as hard as you can. 5 pound, 6 pound. Right, so we're currently at 20 yards and we're hitting around about 8 pound, 9 pound. We've got to 9 pound. So that was 9 pound on 1.5 pound TC rod. Yep, 9 pound. So there's 9 pound being placed on the hook link. Look at the camera. So Deb's managed to get that to 10 pounds, just on 10 pounds off 1.5 pound TC, test curve that is, and 12 foot on a Kevlite and 12 pound mono. Right, we're going to do the same thing again with 2 3/4 medium to long range rod, 2 3/4 pounds. Let's have a look at you hold there. Set the clutch to take some line out and tighten it up when you're ready, yeah? Right, we're going to 20 yards out. Right, so this is the rig I've been using. So we're going to now start to tighten up. So at £2, £3, £5. Is that as hard as you can go? Is that as hard as you can go? Right, so we can only get to £6 on that. Right, £6. That's as tight as you can pull it. Yeah, so just pull it as tight as you can, £6. Right, so that one was 2 3/4, and we got just over £6. £6 4 ounces, and that's as high as you can go. Right, now we're doing the Shimano Velocity 13 foot 3.5 pound TC, and we're going to go to 20 yards again. Now do remember that every time you go further away from your rod and distance with a fish, these numbers are going to drop. But so far we've got £10, £6 4. Now we've got the beefiest rod, the strongest rod I've got with me today. What do you think is going to happen? Let's see. Right, tighten down. Right, pull as hard as you can. £4. Is that as hard as you can go? Got £5, nearly £6. £6. So the 2 3/4 and a 13 foot 3.5 pound TC, there's very little difference between the two of them. And that's as hard as you can go. So you're looking at £6.5 again. Interesting. So there we have it. The 13 foot come out exactly the same as a 12 foot 2 3/4. That's quite interesting when you think about it. It could have been lower, but it came out the same. The 12 foot 2 3/4 performed at the business end of the rig exactly the same as a bigger rod. The only difference between each one's, and I'll speak to you about that now, is performance per rod. There isn't one rod that does every single thing, and that's the point I'm trying to make. So you did, didn't you? So that's the point we're trying to make with that one. So this is the synopsis of this. Listen, on higher TC rods, what you're looking at, the higher the TC, and if it's a tapered action, a stiff rod, then it's specifically built for distance fishing, right? So if you think you're going to start hitting those fish in the snags, it's not going to be as effective. You can still do it as the lower TC rod. So if you're going to be fishing on a smaller, more intimate water, what you need to look at is a 1.5 pound TC. Now, it's down to your own personal preference what you choose. So I'm not telling you what to use, I'm just illustrating the difference on the TC and what they do when you're playing a fish. Now, I know you're not in the playing a fish situation, but what you've got to remember as well is Debs was pulling as hard as she could to bend those rods over into the fish. And there lies something interesting. So when you're actually buying your rods and that kind of thing, make sure you choose the right one for the situation. If you're fishing into snags in an intimate water, what you need to do is have a look at a lower TC rod. It's that simple. When you're casting distance, you need a high TC rod, and they need to be ringed out correctly. There's too many variants to have one rod do every trick in the book, and that's kind of what I'm saying. So hope you enjoyed this video. Comment below, like and subscribe. Smash that right hand subscribe button and hit the bell if you like these kind of videos for notifications via email. And it's a pleasure to see you again, and I'll see you on the next video.